And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. I'm John Garlick, filling in for Chris Wright, who's on the beach with his family, and with my sheriff, Sheriff Matthew Wade.
Always good to be on the TV show, John. I might want to call you Chris a couple of times, so if I do, it's just trying to make Chris feel welcome. But
just don't call me Shirley.
That's it. Hey, it's always great to be on the show. 8 arrests this week brings our count up to 3,831 people arrested, all because people were willing to work with us. And that's a two-way street. You know, we talk about respect and want people to respect the law, and law enforcement will law, and law enforcement's got to respect its citizens. And when we do that, everybody can work together and we can make it a safer place for us all. And this is what this TV show is about. So I'm really, glad to be here, and 8 is a wonderful number.
It's a good week, and talking about respect for the law, you also have to respect the weather too, don't you? A little dry outside.
I tell you what, from Thursday of last week until this Monday, even Monday, we have had numerous wildfires in our area. You talk about wildfires, people are like, well, that happens out west. Well, it can happen anywhere. With the drought conditions and as dry as everything is, we've had several fires in the county's jurisdiction that burned numerous acres of land. So far, no one's been hurt, nobody's home has been hurt, but what people don't realize is you don't need to be burning anything right now, and if you do burn something, you have to call the Forestry Service and get a burn permit.
Oh.
If you don't have a burn permit and you're burning something, you're breaking the law. And I know there's a lot of other laws out there, people say it's more bigger fish to fry, so to speak, but the reason why it's there is to keep people from burning in dangerous conditions when it's a drought or real windy like it was this weekend. There's a fire on Coldwater Mountain yesterday that I understand took place on the bike trail. We've seen helicopters from the state come in with the actual buckets and getting water out of people's ponds, trying to control these fires. And with the winds and the dry conditions, people are just trying to do a brush pile or something like that nature and end up burning 20 acres of land, which you burn somebody's home down, that's bad enough. You do it without a burn permit, you're really going to be wishing for other circumstances. So don't burn anything. Get a burn permit. And right now, the Forestry Service is not going to give you a burn permit.
Too dry, too windy.
Yes, it's just dangerous. Don't burn anything outside.
Yeah, stay away from burning fires outside. But stay with us. We'll be right back with the first half of this week's lineup, and we've got a great guest for you on the show, so stay tuned.
Ford brand has always brought you impressive style and legendary quality, and Sonny King Ford brings you the lowest price and the largest inventory, new or pre-owned. The new 2015 F-150 gets the best gas mileage of any truck without giving up its powerful towing capacity. The iconic new 2015 Mustang, with its classic pony car looks and hunkered down stance, preserves a legacy that defines American motoring. For over 93 years, Sonny King Ford, for the best cars and best price.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
A crackhead,
drug addict,
alcoholic,
meth freak,
a wretch.
like me.
I once was.
Homeless.
Broken. Sad.
just lost.
But now I am.
Sober.
Happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
AOD Federal Credit Union. You already know their friendly staff and great loan products. So here's reason number 8 to choose AOD FCU, a new all-platinum Visa credit card. Call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com to start earning 1% cash back on purchases. Your good credit earns you a better rate. A new Platinum Visa card. Another reason you belong at AOD Federal Credit Union.
I have a lot of land that I have to keep up. I'd recommend Mahindra. I've never had any trouble with mine. Like I said, I do a lot of bush hogging. I do a lot of garden tilling. The service department has been great. Every time I've ever called or needed anything done, they have done it for me.
Hey folks, come see us at Foothills Tractor. We're your one-stop shop for anything you need. Locally owned, locally operated, give you the best customer service guaranteed.
Hi, I'm Katina Houston Stroud with Family Links, and this is the Family Tip of the Week. I've worked with a lot of children and teens with behavioral problems over the years, and believe me, Very few of their parents like their friends. It's like the national anthem of parents. It's not my child, it's those kids he hangs out with. When I hear that, I always say, maybe that's so, but the reason he hangs out with that group is because he's similar to them. And just like you're saying, it's those other kids he hangs out with, those other kids' parents are saying it's your kid who's the problem. The old saying is true, birds of a feather do flock together, and that's especially accurate in adolescence. In fact, one of the main needs of their particular developmental level is to belong to a group and be accepted. And once they find a mode of dress, a type of music, and a group of kids who accept them, it's very hard for parents to break through. So here are some tips to help you steer your child from the wrong crowd. Number one, try to avoid repeated criticisms of their friends. Even if what you're saying is true, all it will do is further alienate your child from you. In fact, if you criticize their friends, you will see them react very strongly. No matter how you feel about your child's friends, I don't believe this direct kind of attack is effective. In fact, there are kids who like the fact that their parents don't approve of their friends, and it adds some flavor to the relationship. Number two, make clear statements about behavior. Be sure to simply state the facts. State what you don't like about their friends' behavior. You're not judging them. As a parent, I think you want to be a little smooth about that. You can say, look, I'm sure your friends are great to you, but they all smoke pot and they all get into trouble. And if you hang out with them, you're going to get into the same trouble. Make those observations and keep it simple and direct. Number three, use structure. I think that structure can be very helpful when dealing with your child's friends. In other words, if you don't like the kids he's hanging out with, then don't let him go out with them on school nights. Try to have more control over where he goes and what he does. And lastly, set limits. Going out on Friday night or any night is not a right. All of a sudden, kids hit a certain age when they think they have the right to go out. Well, I don't think so. I think kids have to behave responsibly in order to earn the right to go out. And you can say, I'll let you go out if you show me that you're trustworthy. Behaving responsibly does not include hanging out with kids who use drugs and drink, and that's all there is to it. I also think going out on a Friday or Saturday night is not a right. It has to be something that's discussed every week. Saturday night is not an automatic night out. Instead, it should be negotiated each week. And as a parent, I think you should be saying, what are your plans this weekend? Your child should know that they have to have their plans okayed by you first and that they have to behave responsibly in order to earn the privilege of going out. Remember, as a parent, you have to understand that while your goal as a parent is to keep your child protected and safe, your child's goal is to be with people who like him. So tackle this with care and be smart about your approach. For more tips, please contact Family Links at 256-820-5911.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up on our lineup this week, Charles Hamlin. Mr. Hamlin, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for failure to appear on child support, the face of a deadbeat dad. And meet Jerome Howard. Mr. Howard, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on obstruction of justice by using a false ID. And this is Henry Phillips. Mr. Phillips, last known to be living in Ohatchee, he's wanted for bond revocation on possession of a controlled substance and use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And meet Tory Middleton. Mr. Middleton, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for failure to appear on child support, the face of a deadbeat dad. And take a look at Roy Hamilton. Mr. Hamilton, last known to be living in Tucker, Georgia, he's wanted for failure to appear in trafficking marijuana. And this is Van Loggins. Mr. Loggins, last known to be living in McMinnville, Tennessee, he's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance. And last up for the first half of our lineup, Jeffrey Rogers. Mr. Rogers, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on possession of marijuana. Second. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show. And welcome back. We hope you saw somebody in the lineup that you knew, and if you did, that you give us a call at Crime Stoppers. Right now, we've got some good folks with us, or good folk anyway. Susan Shipman, Executive Director of Second Chance.
Hi.
And you're all dressed in purple because?
Because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and purple is the color for domestic violence awareness.
And you even have a necklace that's purple.
I do.
That's what and your beads on your wrist are purple.
We go all out purple. I challenge staff to wear something purple that people can see every day during Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Well, that's pretty
We do our best.
Domestic violence claimed the lives of 2 officers this past week in California. One was going to retire in December. The other one had a female. She had a 4-month-old child.
Yeah.
They answered a call to domestic violence where a person shot and killed both of them. So it is the most dreaded call that we get, the most dangerous call that we get.
Because you have no idea what you're walking into.
No.
Absolutely no idea.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for law enforcement too. That's 99.
It has.
Killed in the line of duty this year. So. Yes, so tell us about, you've had a busy month with domestic violence awareness. You've been to Montgomery. You're doing all these crazy things.
Yes,
so tell us.
yes, and we have a lot of month left. And last Thursday, on October the 6th, the Alabama Coalition Against Domestic Violence held an event at the Capitol, Hold Up the Light, and state officials made the Capitol purple, shined purple lights on the Capitol. There were a lot of speakers there, and a lot of big names in state government were there, and supporters of the state coalition and our local programs. So that was really neat. And we have an event coming up on Monday. It's our 8th annual Domestic Violence Awareness Walk, and it's not a long walk. It's really just demonstrative. It's through down Quintard, and that's 5:30 on Monday, the 17th, and Randy Moeller's going to be our speaker.
Oh, well,
yeah,
that's nice.
yeah, we're excited about that. So we hope everybody can come out and join us, and we'll have these T-shirts available for a $15 donation for anybody that needs one of these to walk.
And the donation money goes to?
Support our shelter program. Our emergency shelter program is the most important program I believe that we have. Oftentimes, when a woman's escaping a domestic violence situation, if she doesn't have somewhere safe to go where the perp doesn't know where she is, then she can easily get dead. There were 32 domestic violence homicides in Alabama in 2015, and that is up from 24 in 2012, 13, and 14. So that's half again as many, and that's just horrific.
Well, violent crimes are up pretty much all over the country,
They are,
unfortunately.
indeed. Mm-hmm.
And Sheriff, so we see this over and over again with domestic violence, that the victim, if you will, leaves the perpetrator many, many times before they actually stay gone and take shelter.
Well, they need to understand as law enforcement officers that we'll come each and every time they call, whether it's 1 or 15 times, and each time we'll offer the same service, which will be anything we can do for them. We'll actually give them a ride too, second chance if they need that. So it's not only about arresting the person who does something bad, but we can help those who are in need. You know, that's something that we need to make sure we're doing, is to provide the service to those people. And as they say, love is blind, and a lot of times it's not as simple as just getting your stuff and going. We understand that, and we just want to make sure we're the support system that they know that they can call on us 1 or however many times it takes, that we'll come each and every time and try to help them.
And we're so grateful for that, because without law enforcement, a lot of victims would endure a situation longer than they have to. We know it sometimes takes a victim 5 to 7 times to leave before she makes that a permanent escape. And when she's getting ready to leave a domestic violence situation, that's the most dangerous time for her.
Well, and you know, we get calls too that they're worried about, you know, what should they take when they leave. They've got so much, they're kind of hung up on the things, but then too, they're hung up on their children or their pets. And so when they leave and seek shelter, what can they bring with them to your shelter?
Well, the most important things that they need to bring with them are important papers, and particularly if law enforcement's on the scene, they're not going to wait, you know, an hour and a half for them to collect up all their special things that they think they need to escape with. There'll be an opportunity for them to go back and collect those things later. But of course, the children, and we're one of the only shelters in the state that accepts teenaged boys into their shelters, because that's an obvious problem. And also pets. We've got a new program now. We've got kennels set up in the backyard, and so we're able to take in domestic animals, and that's challenging every single time. Sure. But you know, there are victims that are not going to leave without Charlie, because you know, Charlie may be killed while they're gone, and so that's important to them. That's one of the barriers that we're able to tear down.
Our dogs are like family.
They are.
Well, Second Chance always helping to make a difficult time a little bit easier by accommodating all the special needs. And so you can accommodate our special needs by watching again at the second half of our lineup and tuning back in for the second half of our guest interview on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
Ready for a new ride? Get ready for Rig. I'm Rig A. Marole, and I am ready with all the fancy jargon, made-up expenses, marketing gimmicks, and flat-out lies that you've come to expect when you go car shopping. You want to pay way too much for a piece of junk like this? Get a load of me, Rig A. Marole, at your neighborhood used car dealer. I'll have you marolling off this lot in your new vehicle.
I'm Marty Boyles, and I guarantee no rigmarole here at Jacksonville Auto Sales. Just good cars and trucks at fair prices. We're in Jacksonville across from Walmart, or find us on the web at jascars.com. Remember, Jacksonville Auto Sales, home of the no rigmarole deal.
I have a lot of land that I have to keep up. I'd recommend Mahindra. I've never had any trouble with mine. Like I said, I do a lot of bush hogging. I do a lot of garden tilling. The service department has been great. Every time I've ever called or needed anything done, they have done it for me.
Hey folks, come see us at Foothills Tractor. We're your one-stop shop for anything you need. Locally owned, locally operated, give you the best customer service guaranteed.
Amazing grace.
How sweet the sound that saved
A crackhead,
drug addict, alcoholic, meth freak,
a wretch,
like me.
I once was.
homeless.
Broken. Sad.
Just lost. But now I am sober.
Happy.
I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Every day, shattered lives are restored thanks to the goods you donate to the Salvation Army.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Roderick Jones. Mr. Jones, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to appear on writing multiple worthless checks. And take a look at Tyrell Ward. Mr. Ward, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for bond revocation on possession and receipt of a controlled substance. And this is Demris Allman. Mr. Allman, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for failure to pay on felony domestic violence third assault. And meet Geraldine Clark. Miss Clark, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for failure to pay on domestic violence third assault. And this is Katrina Free. Miss Free, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for failure to pay on use and possession of drug paraphernalia. And last up in our lineup this week, Jeffrey Llewellyn. Mr. Llewellyn, last known to be living in Ohatchee, he's wanted for failure to pay on theft of property first. And that's it for the lineup this week. If you know the whereabouts of these folks, and we hope you do, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414. And hopefully you saw somebody in that half of the lineup, and you will call, because you call, we haul. Right, Sheriff?
That's absolutely right. You call, we haul. It's got a good program.
We're here with Susan Shipman, Executive Director of Second Chance. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, purple. We got T-shirts to sell for donations.
We do.
Provide money for the shelter.
Yes, and on the campus of JSU right now, the Red Flag campaign is well underway, and this is a bystander intervention campaign. Oftentimes, we don't know what to say to a friend or a relative or a coworker when we think that there's something hinky in the relationship, that maybe there's some violence going on there, or that there could be some violence. We see the red flags in a relationship, and we don't know how to address that. And you know, just straightforwardly, I think, is the best way to do that, because if we don't do it, you know, we may think we're going to destroy a friendship, but if we don't speak up about that, then the person that we're concerned about could be injured or end up in this relationship and not being able to find a way out. And so it's important that we step up.
And that's on the college campuses, so that's on JSU and all that.
Indeed, and this has to do with sexual violence as well. Some of the dynamics of domestic and a sexual violence situation are the same. It's about power and control, and there's quick involvement. And you know, if you see something, say something. That's the big phrase that came out of 9/11, but it's useful, you know, for this situation as well, because the victim often has no idea how to get out of the situation once she's in it, and so it's important for her friends to stand by and to stand by her or him and help them realize that this is not good.
So if a friend is noticing what could be an abusive relationship, how would you suggest they intervene with their friend or in general?
Well, with a friend, I would say something like, I'm concerned for your safety. I see that Mr. Man, you know, doesn't let you spend any time with us any longer. When's the last time we were able to do girls' night? You know, we used to have lunch together on Thursdays every Thursday, and that's not happening anymore. Just letting the friend know that they're concerned for their safety, and if there's anything that they can do to help, they'll be happy to. refer them to our crisis line number. It's 256-236-7233. And anyone that answers the phone there can kind of talk to them about what the situation is and offer them counseling services, outreach services, whatever it is that seems appropriate.
And if they hear something going on, it's not inappropriate to call and ask for a welfare check, right, Sheriff?
Absolutely. We do that all the time where somebody will call and go, hey, we're worried about our loved one. We can't get in contact with them, or we think something's going on. We go. And I tell people all the time, they say, well, I thought about calling law enforcement. If you think about calling law enforcement, go ahead.
Need to do it.
If we go out there and it's not nothing, it's perfectly okay. It's okay to call us and you being wrong on what you thought. That's why we call it an investigation. So we do that, and we'll gladly do that. If you think something's going on, let us go look.
And it's okay to call us as well, and everything that we talk about on our crisis line or in our programs is all confidential. We don't share this information with anybody.
Even the shelter location is secret.
Absolutely, and it has to be for reasons of we don't need Mr. Mann showing up on the front porch.
Sure. And, you know, domestic violence is a long cycle of abuse, even for the abuser, but particularly for the victim. They could be a victim of abuse from childhood. Isn't that right? Sure it is. And in domestic violence situations, it's a pattern of coercive behaviors that one intimate partner is exercising against the other. It's not an occasional argument or something like that. But you know, if there's ever any physical violence involved in a relationship, then there's probably some underlying domestic violence, if not really blatant domestic violence. Because why would you want to hurt your partner that you love? Sure, and it doesn't have to be, you know, physical violence to be abusive, right? Right. So what are some of the common non-physical abuse that you can see? Well, verbal and psychological abuse are very popular amongst perpetrators because they're easy to do, and you know, the more often that you hear that you're stupid, you're ugly, you're fat, you're a horrible mother, then you know, we may begin to believe that that's actually so, and as our self-esteem is eroded, then it's less likely that we're going to try to do anything like get out of the relationship. Financial abuse is a big deal. Perhaps the victim is not allowed to work, therefore has no income of their own, or if they do have a job, the perpetrator takes their money from them every time they get paid and doesn't let them use their own money. Or you know, they go to the store and the perpetrator demands to see the receipt when they get back and have all of the change back, and the receipt's got that time stamp on what time they checked out. So you know, he knows that or she knows that you haven't been somewhere besides the store. So an intense controlling person, and one that will slowly eat away your self-esteem, because frankly you're not going to get in a relationship when the first date they slap you across the face. Yeah. These abusers tend to be very nice for the first few dates. Exactly. And they kind of get you into the relationship, and then they take advantage of you. Exactly. Well, so let's round up real quick. You've got the walk coming up when? The walk on the 17th, that's Monday. It's usually the last Tuesday of the month, but a great herd of us will be out of state for a conference on that date. And so we'll start at 5:30 at Centennial Memorial Park at 17th and Quintard, and we'll do some registration. We'll walk south and cross over and walk back up and cross over back to the park. And Randy Moeller will be our speaker, and we're excited to see him and to hear what he has to say. So be sure to participate in that. Buy some T-shirts for a donation, and remember, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Susan Shipman, Executive Director at Second Chance. Stay tuned. We'll be back with our Crime Stoppers portion of the show and our Crazy Criminal.
AOD Federal Credit Union. You already know their friendly staff and great loan products. So here's reason number 8 to choose AOD FCU, a new all-platinum Visa credit card. Call 1-800-637-0299 or visit AODFCU.com to start earning 1% cash back on purchases. Your good credit earns you a better rate. A new Platinum Visa card. Another reason you belong at AOD Federal Credit Union.
I have a lot of land that I have to keep up. I'd recommend Mahindra. I've never had any trouble with mine. Like I said, I do a lot of bush hogging. I do a lot of garden tilling. The service department has been great. Every time I've ever called or needed anything done, they have done it for me.
Hey folks, come see us at Foothills Tractor. We're your one-stop shop for anything you need. Locally owned, locally operated, give you the best customer service guaranteed.
The Ford brand has always brought you impressive style and legendary quality, and Sonny King Ford brings you the lowest price and the largest inventory, new or pre-owned. The new 2015 F-150 gets the best gas mileage of any truck without giving up its powerful towing capacity. The iconic new 2015 Mustang, with its classic pony car looks and hunkered down stance, preserves a legacy that defines American motoring. For over 93 years, Sonny King Ford, for the best cars and best price.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask you to put your deer stalkers on and help our investigators with these cases. On Monday, September 26th at 2:30 p.m., a residence at 6002 Sachs Road was burglarized. A neighbor witnessed an older model gold Ford Explorer or Expedition driven by a middle-aged white male. The suspect broke into the residence and stole televisions, laptops, and a bunch of other stuff. On September 23rd, forklift forks were stolen from a business on Jennifer Lane in Oxford. And sometime between September 24th and September 26th, a vehicle was broken into on Gladden Lane West in Alexandria. They got away with a bunch of power tools. Sometime between September 19th and September 24th, this residence on Bow Lane in Wellington was broken into. They got away with jewelry and 2 horse saddles. And sometime between August 1st and September 24th, this residence on Circle Drive in Oxford was broken into. They got off with some copper wiring. And last up on our caseload this week, on September 26th, this business located on Quintard Avenue in Anniston was broken into. They got away with a bunch of Newport cigarettes. And that's it for our Crime Stoppers portion this week. If you have any information on these cases, please contact Crime Stoppers at 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
So we hope you noticed something in the cases we just showed you, and if you have something we need to know, please call that Crime Stoppers number, because our investigators are diligently working on all those cases. So, Sheriff, why'd the chicken cross the road?
I'm going to say to get to the other side.
Perhaps, but in our case, our chicken was from England. And while he was trying to cross the road, he got a little disoriented and kind of hung out in the road, and it really scared a bunch of drivers. So, you know, the default is when you see something up, who do you call?
Law enforcement.
Law enforcement. So our law enforcement folks in England went out and rounded up this chicken. I think we have a picture of our perpetrator. But they found and they rescued this chicken and were able to save him from, there he is, they were able to save this poor little chicken from, you know, a on-road experience. Of course, interesting to note that lunch at that law enforcement office
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Well, now we know why the chicken was trying to cross the road.
Trying to cross the road. So just remember, keep your livestock, you know, locked up.
People should realize that's a pretty common call the sheriff's office gets, is rounding up of livestock. So we do chase animals around sometimes.
We do. I've chased birds and dogs and cows, but not a chicken.
Not a chicken.
Not a chicken. Well, remember, we've got the Domestic Violence Walk coming up this week, and you've seen your cases, you've seen the lineup. We have our website.
Hey, come see us on Facebook. If you send us a message, you'll get me. I'll respond.
And we got the new sheriff's picture all over our Facebook page and our website. So stay with us. We hope to see you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.